Hello, everybody. We are going to start our second video on the tips of traveling to Nicaragua. It's the 21st of April.
2022, el 21 de abril.
Abril, for April.
Abril is April. So we forgot 3 things in our last video.
4 things. Just kidding.
What?
Lots of things.
Did we forget 4 things? I think we just discussed 3 things.
Well,
So we're going to discuss those rather than squabble about whether it's 3 or 4. Right,
Okay.
Cole?
No.
So basically, we wanted to talk a little bit about hotels.
Hotels.
And as we said previously, this is an absolutely gorgeous colonial hotel in the center of Granada. It's called Casa San Francisco.
Casa San Francisco.
And you can actually see the name.
It's on the pots.
Well, maybe not.
Yeah, it is. It's right here.
Casa San Francisco.
Look at it.
These are all handmade, by the way, by
Casa
local artisans,
San
which is
Francisco.
pretty cool. Here we go. Casa San Francisco. That is where we are. One of the things that we wanted to talk about. Hola. Gracias. Is what to look for in a hotel. And depending on what your needs are. There are many levels of hotels.
You want to be not burning your to death. You probably want AC and a pool.
Well, it is extremely hot here. When we arrived in Costa
100
Rica 4 days ago, it was 100 degrees and very high humidity, even though it's the dry season. The humidity was really high.
It's the dry season.
And you have to adjust. And I personally am the princess and the pea, so I didn't want to plunge right into 100-degree humidity, 100-degree weather without some pleasantries along the way to ease into it. However, we did actually plunge into it because the first night that we were in Costa Rica,
No AC, no nothing.
no AC, no hot water. I don't think you've taken a shower since we got here, so
Nope.
I think you might have taken one in Costa Rica.
Yeah, I did. It was really good.
We actually did. I take that back. We had hot water in Costa Rica. However, it was with one of those dangerous electric shower heads where people have actually gotten shocked from those shower heads, believe it or not, that were improperly installed. I think ours was properly installed, although it looked pretty do-it-yourself. So we actually had warm water, although you really don't need hot water because you're so hot. So you don't have to have that. Cold showers can be a relief in this weather. However, our hotel does have hot water. They have solar panels on the roof. Again, this is a colonial building owned by a couple of American sisters. So they do have hot water, which is wonderful. And the other thing I would recommend and makes your trip a lot more enjoyable is a pool. You're not going to spend very much money. This hotel would probably be a few $100s a night in the United States, and again, we're only paying $33 due to the economic situation and differences in cost of living here. But I highly recommend a pool. Even if it's a teeny tiny pool, you will feel so much better, especially in the afternoon. We thought we were going to die. We didn't do the pool yesterday. And then we went and Cole did his language classes, his Spanish classes, and was so exhausted that the professor asked him to lay down. She kept saying, "Oh, he looks so tired." No, he's just wilting because it's hot, and we just came from 50-degree Idaho weather.
Yeah, I was burning alive. I was thinking, I'm not laying down. I'm not sleepy.
Right.
I'm just burning hot.
So he just laid there, totally comatose, on the couch. Anyway, the third thing I wanted to say is most hotels or most Airbnbs do not have air conditioning down here. Or if they do have air conditioning, it is only in the room. We were fortunate to have one of those little mini ductless air conditioners in our room.
They're so good.
And so it is really nice, along with the fan, the overhead power fan. We set the air conditioning to about 82 degrees after taking a nice dip in the pool, and it is perfect. The electricity is really, really expensive here. So what they do in a lot of hotels, not this one, but a lot of hotels, is they'll charge you a cheap price, but then they add on sometimes double the amount if you use air conditioning, because I think a lot of foreigners use a lot of air conditioning. They're not just using it at night, they're using it all the time. And the government, unlike, for example, in the United States, where the government has subsidized electricity, they do not have socialized electricity like we do in the United States, which is interesting. If you think about it, politically speaking. We'll go into that. But a lot of what we pay for in the United States with energy is subsidized by our government. So we don't pay the true cost of electricity. And we tend to be pretty wasteful. Well, they're not wasteful here because it is extremely expensive for them to operate an air conditioner and hot water heaters. That's why they did solar here. So if you need it, make sure you find out whether it's functioning. Was there anything else regarding the hotel?
Did we talk about earthquakes?
Oh, last night we experienced at 1 o'clock in the morning, we experienced a 6-point earthquake.
There's lots of earthquakes.
And aftershocks. There are lots of earthquake fault lines running through Granada, and there was actually concerns about a tsunami here because of that. So be aware of what's going on. I personally, after hearing that, would not want to be right next to the beach. That scares me. Like, the next place we were going to go is El Gigante, which is right on the beach here in Nicaragua. But
Don't go there.
I now am kind of glad I'm not there right now. I don't know if that earthquake had an effect or not on the waves.
It was next to the shore. So it could have.
Yeah, could have. And we just had a conversation with 2 men from Australia who have been here for the last 9 years doing construction, and the government here requires that you do earthquake you're supposed to do retrofitting, and new construction has earthquake standards here. Because we got volcanoes all around us and fault lines underneath us, but the city of Granada has stood just fine. The ironic part is I just had 2 conversations with 2 women yesterday, our Spanish instructor and and the lady who we eat dinner with, because we have set it up to eat dinner with a local Nicaraguan family. And she said that the people of Granada believe that La Señora is protecting the city, which is why, despite all of the earthquakes, the city of Granada stands without a problem. But I think you need to do more than request that don't leave it to prayer. Make sure, don't leave it to prayer and faith. Make sure that the place that you stay has been upgraded. You don't want to end up in a rubble when they have another earthquake. But I guess the city of Granada was built pretty well by the Spaniards, because I don't think, it's 500 years old. The city of Granada is 500 years old, and despite the fault lines, there haven't been any problems.
Yeah.
For 500 years.
500 years. Long time.
Anyway, just to add more fear to My relatives at home, Mom, Tom. We can now add earthquakes to the list of potential problems that we may experience.
Earthquakes, water, tsunamis.
Political unrest.
Yeah. Kind of bad.
You know, crime. But actually, that's the other thing that I would say before we end here is I personally feel a lot better. I know this may be a little bit paranoid, but I personally feel a lot better staying in a hotel than staying in a private residence if you're going on Airbnb for a place, because they have someone guarding the locked entry at all times throughout the night. Whereas if you stay in your own private Airbnb, there's not necessarily anybody watching it. So you may end up with a home invasion from someone not with the intent of kidnapping or doing violence, but with the intent of robbing you. I think your chances of being robbed are much higher than those more violent crimes here, because people are poor. So, but I feel very safe. We've got people watching us at all times. People who are not staying in the hotel are not allowed past. And we have several staff that are here all the time, so they know who comes and goes.
Yeah,
there are security cameras.
There's a locked door here, the locked door down there, and there's another locked door over there.
Yeah, at the entrance, which we can't see from here.
And the entrance over there, and another one over there.
And then when you are hanging out in the garden, you're surrounded by high walls.
Yeah.
So it is, we're kind of barricaded in here, although it certainly is a nice, a very pretty barricade, as you can see. I think that about does it. Please subscribe and ask any questions that you'd like in the comments. I did just say that. We're happy to answer any questions, because there's just really not a lot of information on these issues at least in 2022.
Yeah, we talked about the border.
We're going to talk about the border in the next video, because that's its own adventure, or you could call it a catastrophe, but we did make it.
Yeah.
So everything was fine. It's kind of, it's like any government. There's a lot of red tape. So if you can figure out the red tape in advance, because it's changing all the time, then you'll be fine.